A different year, same old story. Or maybe it's not an old story, but it's one from last year. Inventory's tight, sales are light, but the future, it looks bright. Okay, the future being bright might be a little bit of a fib, but I just wanted to show off my third grade rhyming skills. But my big takeaway, being only 2 weeks into this market, is that the amount of new listings hitting the market, it's coming on strong. In this video, we're going to go over the single-family condo markets in the state of Massachusetts. We're also going to do a quick interest rate update, which is not looking too good. Plus, we're also going to talk about some relevant current events. Hey, it's Jeff Chubb. I'm a recovering investment banker, turned real estate agent and investor that has sold more than 1,000 houses. If you have any questions in regards to real estate, then no, I'm here to help. So you don't want to pay 2.5% to 3% commission to your buyer agent when you are buying a house. Well, then reach out. Let's talk about our purchase power plan and how you can save thousands, possibly tens of thousands of dollars when buying a home. Let's jump into the single family market stats. Time to set some expectations off of historic data. Inventory levels are going to be relatively flat for the coming weeks, which means that these low levels, they're here to stay. We now have 3,274 single-family homes on the market, and this is 15.3% fewer homes on the market than just 28 days ago. And this is all to be expected. I expected us to bounce around these levels until the end of February. The decreasing inventory has made way for a tight market that is beneficial to both buyers and sellers. So how can that be, you ask? Well, to sellers, it's limited amount of competition and less new competition coming on the market every week. So it helps give some attention to the houses that have been on the market longer, just haven't been selling. And to buyers, there are a lot less buyers out there, a lot less. Find a seller that has a need to sell, and you could find yourself in a situation finding a really good value on a property. It was an interesting end of the year. Our inventory levels were plummeting, and then the rate of plummeting actually slowed down at the last moment. We will start the year with the fourth lowest inventory level in history, and we currently have 305 more houses on the market than when compared to the same week last year, and 1,068 more houses on the market when compared to the inventory levels of 2022. We listed 567 single-family homes this week, which is compared to 493 homes this week last year. This means that we were 74 units, or 15% higher than the levels we saw in 2024. That is the starting off of the year right. Well, that's if you're a home buyer. Now, that 4-week rolling average is 315 units. This week, we put 541 single-family homes under agreement. This is 3 units, or 0.6% less than the same week last year when we put 538 houses under agreement. That 4-week rolling average, that's 458 units. So compared to last year's market, new listings, they were up 15%, while under agreements were essentially flat, being down by 0.6%. This pending new listing ratio is up, and that makes a lot of sense for this time of year. It will level off and head back to what we perceive as the normal in the coming weeks. The ratio of 132% is compared to the 100.8% that we saw this week last year. What this means is that 132% of all the properties that came on the market just 2 weeks ago went under agreement last week. There are 460 single-family homes that closed last week for an average sales price of $851,000 and a median sales price of $630,000. Sales levels compared to the same week last year were up by 66 units, or 16.8%, as there were 394 single-family houses that sold this week last year for an average sales price of $760,000. Months of inventory, this is how we determine what type of market we're in. 0 to 5 months is considered a seller's market. With the closer you get to 0, the more aggressive of a seller's market that it is. This week, months of inventory came in at 1.15 months. The 1.15 months this week is compared to the 1.2 months this week last year. Now, the gap between this year and last year is 0.05 months. The 2024 and 2025 market conditions seem to be pretty alike so far. So far being 2 weeks in. Real quick, it's my shameless plug. I just want to mention that if you are thinking about buying or selling a house, then it would be a true pleasure to help you. Now, onto the condo market. We now have 2,037 condos on the market as of Monday. This means that there is 12.4% less inventory in the market today than the inventory levels of just 28 days ago. We started the condo market with inventory levels being the fourth lowest in recent history, just like the single-family market. We now have 266 more units on the market today than today last year. 497 fewer condos on the market when compared to the same time in 2021. There were 414 condos that came on the market last week, but that 4-week rolling average, that's 167 units. The 414 units listed was 96 units, or 30.2% more than the 318 condos that came on the market the same week back in 2024. This week, we put 284 units under agreement. This 284 condo sales is 3 units, or 1.1% more than the 281 condos we put under agreement this week last year. And that 4-week rolling average, that's 206 units. So 30.2% more listings came on the market when compared to this week last year, while selling 1.1% more condos. This week's pending to new listing ratio is 105.2%. This is compared to the 70.3% that we saw this time last year. There were 220 condos that sold this week for an average sales price of $776,000 and a median sales price of $547,000. This same week last year, there were 148 condos that sold for an average sales price of $664,000. So sales levels were up by 48.7%. We're starting this year with a month of inventory level higher than in years past. Months of inventory is 1.78 months this week compared to 1.63 months that we recorded last week. And this week's number is compared to the 1.76 months of inventory levels this week last year. Now, the year-over-year inventory level spread dropped to 0.02 months. Hey, Jersey, can you do me a huge favor? Can you hit that like button right down there? Believe it or not, it just makes a huge difference for me and the channel. It just plays with that YouTube algorithm. While subscribing if you're liking the content, that one doesn't hurt either. So please consider subscribing. Time to talk about interest rates. This is going to hurt a little bit. It has not been a great run for interest rates, and yesterday was a killer. Interest rates are up by nearly a third of a point in the last month and 0.16% in the last week. And this graph really shows you that upward trajectory that interest rates have taken in the last couple weeks. Now, I have a belief that we're going to see more of the same when it comes to the interest rate story for 2025. So be prepared. Quick story. I bought a new car right before Christmas. It was a good experience in the sense that it allowed me to dive into the experience and the feelings of home buyers today. The interest rate for my last truck that I bought 5 years ago was 3.9%. I knew that interest rates would be higher. I knew that my payment would be higher, but I needed a new car. 3 kids and now 2 dogs, as we got a Christmas puppy, a St. Bernard, who's not going to be small, meant that we were now in the suburban size category. Why is that important? Because we now had a need for a new car. I would not have been in the dealership had we not had that need. My old car was just fine and was coming close to being paid off. It was the dream car, nearly. Direct quote when I got to the first round of numbers, "Don't shoot the messenger," he said. Now, normally I'd buy lightly used cars, but the 10.5% interest rate on a used car pushed me to a new car where the interest rate was in the high sixes. Victory, I guess? What's the point? Well, I have a new car parked in the driveway. This car is more expensive when looking at the monthly payment than I had hoped for. The lessons and the point is that you will subject yourself to what you perceive as too much or too high of a borrowing rate when you have a need. And that is what our real estate market is all about. This is not a market of want. This is a market of need. People are buying houses because they need to move. This need could be thanks to a relocation, a growing family, or a life situation like divorce. And the other takeaway is that we don't buy based on the big number of the asset purchase. We buy off that monthly payment number. What is the mortgage payment, or in my case, the car payment going to be? What are you willing to accept? In my case, what can I do or try to justify this warped reality? Now, I did my year-end recap video. If you haven't seen it, then you should check it out. And I've begun to work on my projections video, so be on the lookout for that one. Want to talk about your own personal real estate needs? Again, it's Jeff Chung. Whether you're looking to buy or sell a home in the next 9 or 90 days, then I would love to chat with you and just find out a little bit more about your real estate goals. And if you know of anyone that's thinking about buying and selling a house in 2025, then I truly appreciate you passing along my contact information. You can visit YouTubeRealEstateAgent.com or find all my contact information in the description below right down there. Until next time.